one of the advantages of attending the meeting in person as opposed to watching it later on YouTube is that you get to ask questions. And feel free to do so. You will have to unmute yourself, unmute your mic, and ask a question. Just unmute and say, Mojo, what do you mean by that? And I'll be happy to take those questions. So we're moving on from finesses. I want to talk for the next week or two about trumping in the dummy and discarding losers in the dummy. Roughing in the dummy is one of the ways to generate an extra trick when you have a trump contract, when you're in a trump suit. And it only applies in a trump suit. Trumping in dummy or sloughing losers in the dummy, they don't work in no trump. So it's one of the advantages of having a trump suit if that's the occasion. And I'm going to start with a hand that's that I'm sharing right now in Zoom. This one, the auction goes one heart. Let's see, I have to do it over here. One heart, pass. North raises to two hearts with 9 points. There are 6 points in those two kings, and we're adding 3 points for this singleton 5, and I'll talk about why we do that in a minute. So it's a 2-heart bid, and South now has a really good hand. It's, let's see, 11, 15, 16. It's 16 high card points, 17, 18 for the distribution. So let's invite game with that many points, and let's say 3 hearts. Now, normally with a 6-point hand, North's hand would pass, but this isn't a 6-point hand anymore, and the singleton club gives us extra values. So we're going to accept the game invitation and say 4. Now, the interesting thing is that when we first look at this hand in class, and we generally count winners and we count losers. If we look at it from the loser perspective right now, we can afford 4 losers. We can afford 3 losers in a contract of 4 hearts. And in the heart suit, we don't have any. We've got the king over here to fill in the empty hole here, and we have 10 trumps. I always like that. In spades, it looks like we have 1 loser, but the king covers that one. In diamonds, we have 3 losers, and that's it. And in clubs, we have 1 loser, and that makes 4. We have 3 diamond losers and 1 club loser. And I want to talk about eliminating that club loser by trumping it in the dummy. On the other hand, suppose we count winners with this suit instead. In hearts, we have 6 winners. There's no way we can have more than 6. We only have 6 on this side, but we have all 6 of them are winners because we have the top 4 and the opponents can't have more than 3. In spades, we have 2 winners. That brings us up to 8. In diamonds, we don't have any. And in clubs, we have 1. That brings us up to 9. And of course, for a contract of 4 hearts, we need 10 winners. Now, let's see. The opponents are going to take the first 3 tricks in the diamonds. It's going to go like this. And there's nothing we can do about that. Away they go. And once they've taken all their diamonds, we might think, what will they switch to? There's not, well, maybe they might continue 1 more diamond. And if they do, maybe their partner will put in a trump and we'll have to overruff, but that's fine. So now we've won our first trick and we've lost 3. We can't lose any more. And oftentimes when I'm asking, well, where can we get extra tricks? Sometimes the first impulse is to say we can get tricks by trumping spades in our hand, right? So we play spade tricks, and that kind of works. I mean, we can win 2 spades, and we win the ace and we win the king. And then when we lead a spade back, we can trump it in our hand. But the problem with doing that is that we haven't generated any extra tricks by doing that. I should probably pull trump first. Why don't I do that? I'll take a couple of rounds of hearts. And so now the opponents don't have any hearts left. And the thing to notice is that if I trump a spade in my hand, let's see, how many tricks have I won so far? I've won 6. I still have 2 winners in hearts and 1 winner in clubs. We don't have a 10th winner. If I trump a spade in my hand, I still am short 1 winner. The way you can generate an extra trick is by trumping on the short side of the dummy. While these two trumps are good, if I trump in the dummy, I still get to keep these two trumps. Let me look at the original hand again, and I've just made the contract. We've won 8 tricks, and my last two hearts are good. If we look at the original hand again, the dummy is the side with the short trump, and your hand is the side with the long trump. And most often in bridge, that's going to be the case. So when we say trumping in the dummy, we say that almost reflexively. I'm just going to put a 4-heart contract up here. We say that almost reflexively. Trumping in the dummy is really what we mean by that is trumping on the side with the short trumps. And in this case, north is the side with the short trumps. There are times when the dummy isn't going to be that hand. There are times when, particularly, for instance, if you play Jacobi transfer bids, you're going to be playing the hand with the long suit of trumps in the dummy and the short in your side. So when that happens, you have to flip your counting of losers upside down. Instead of counting losers in declarer's hand, you count them in the dummy. You count them on the side with the long trumps. It's when you can trump losers in the side with the short trumps that you've actually generated extra tricks. Let me show you some example hands. In this one, for instance, do we have an opportunity? Oh, wait, let me back up one. Oh, this isn't it. I'm going for this. Diamond 4, exercise 2. This is it. If we're looking at this suit, for instance, clubs are the trump suit. And we have the ace of hearts in the dummy, 3 little hearts in our hand, the ace of spades in our hand, 3 little spades in the dummy. The short side is the dummy, right? Of the trump, the short side in trump. You only have 3 trumps in the dummy, you have 5 in our hand. So when we're counting losers, we see that we have the ace to cover 1 heart loser, and we have 2 heart losers otherwise. In spades, we have no losers. And that's how we count it, because we're counting on the side with the long trumps. So in a suit like this, we can generate extra tricks by trumping in the dummy, trumping hearts in the dummy. But we don't get any extra tricks by trumping spades in our hand. They're tricks that we've already counted, essentially. If we're counting winners, these are already winners. And when we trump a spade in our hand, we're not getting any extra winners. On the other hand, when I trump a heart in the dummy on the side with the short trumps, then we have now created an extra winner, because we still have the 5 that we started with here in the dummy, and we've now created an extra one by trumping it in our hand. So let's look at some examples. And let's say, does this suit have the opportunity to trump losers in the dummy? You can just nod or shake your head. And I think this diamond suit, if this is a side, say spades or trumps, we'll do that. Yeah, it does, because we can play our ace and we can make the dummy void in the suit, and then any further diamonds that we play, we will trump in the dummy. And this is why we give extra value to a short suit in the dummy, and why when you're supporting your partner's suit, you can count dummy points. This is like having the king in diamonds, because you're not losing the second trick in diamonds. You're not losing the third one either, probably. Let's look at another one. Does this suit have the opportunity to trump diamonds in the dummy? This is our hand. This is the dummy. No. In order to trump losers in the dummy, you have to make the dummy void in the suit, and you have to have trump cards to do it with. Well, does this suit provide any opportunity to trump losers in the dummy? No. Never when you have the same number of cards on each side. There's no way to do that. In this one, can we trump losers in the dummy? Yes, the dummy's void, and we don't have to do anything to set up for it either. And this one, can we trump losers in the dummy? No. We might get to trump this 6 of spades in our hand, and we might be able to use this king for something else. We'll talk about that next week. But this suit does not give us the opportunity to trump losers in the dummy. Now, an interesting situation may come when we have to play carefully. In this case, for instance, we have to set up the suit by making it void before we can trump any losers. And we have to play carefully by playing the high card from the short side. We need to play the king first, and then come back to the ace, and then we can trump our third club. And we might want to think about managing the trump suit, because when you need to trump losers in the dummy, you need to have trump cards in the dummy to do it with. And you may find that if the dummy only has 3 trumps, for instance, then if you need to trump 3 losers, you can't pull any rounds of trump before you do that. If you need all 3 of them to make your contract. In this instance, we need 1 trump suit, and we don't have to do anything to get ready for it. But let's look at another instance here. How many trumps do we need in the dummy in order to ruff all of our club losers? We need 3. In this one, how many trumps do we need in the dummy? Well, the ace will take care of one of them, so we'll need 2 trumps to cover these 2. In this one, we don't need any trumps. We're not going to do any ruffing in the dummy with this. We'll just play this one high card from the short side, lead over to the queen, and lead the 2 back to the ace. And in this one, we're going to have to lose 2 tricks before we can ruff in the dummy, but that's what we're going to do. We'll play 2 clubs, they'll take their ace and their king, and then the third one, we'll trump it in the dummy. We'll need 1 trump to do it with. And so oftentimes when you're preparing to trump losers in the dummy, you may have to lose some tricks. In a case like this, for instance, we can win the ace, we can't win the second spade. And it may come down to playing this spade suit before we have pulled trump. We're going to have to preserve 1 trump card in the dummy in order to ruff our third spade. And if we won't have any trumps after we pull the trumps, then we won't be able to ruff one of our losers. So we may want to play a spade and lose a spade before we pull trumps. And oftentimes when I see a declarer doing this as the defender, one of the strategies I can use when I'm defending is to start leading trumps, to make declarer play trumps, and so they won't have any in the dummy to ruff things with. If you look at an instance like this, again, you're going to have to lose 1 spade before you're set up to ruff losers in the dummy. In this one, we're going to have to lose 2. This is a case where you may end up playing 2 spade tricks and giving them to the opponents early in the contract before you've started pulling trump even. You may pull 1 round of trump, but you need 1 trump card in the dummy in order to ruff a spade. Sometimes the defenders will help you out. They'll take their spade tricks right away. And it's important to recognize when you are actually helping declarer by taking the spades that you have coming. In this instance, we don't have to do anything to get ready for it. We don't have to lose any tricks. And in this instance, we don't have to lose any tricks as well, because we can win with the ace, and then we can start trumping losers in the dummy. So that's the important things for this lesson. We'll talk about discarding losers next week, and we'll look at some example hands for that. And I hope you go trump some losers in the dummy today at 10 o'clock. Thank you all. We got a game at 10.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Great.
Thank you, Mojo.
Oh,
Hey, Mojo, you still there?
Yeah.
I love these mini lessons. Did you say these were available on YouTube?
Yeah, I have a playlist. I've been publishing the, I'll send you a link to the playlist.
Thank you.
I've got the last 4 or 5 up. That's about it.
okay.